It's a great day in America, and today the object of our study and thought is about as timely and important as any subject could be to those of us who love our country and who care about the future for ourselves, for our children, and for our grandchildren. The moral case for free enterprise. Always, everywhere, from the earliest times to the present, the rulers, the kings, the princes, the parliamentarians, the congressmen, the senators, the presidents have wished to impose control over the private economy. And they have done so with remarkable persistence and often with disastrous results. They want to regulate prices, they want to regulate wages, they want to regulate the terms and conditions under which goods and services may be exchanged in the private marketplace. They want to give licenses or charters to people and require that they have them in order to do business in a free way. Well, my friends, the fact that the results of this have always been disastrous, have seldom, if ever, done any good, and always a lot of harm, hasn't dissuaded them. And to this very moment, right up to this morning, that pressure on the rights of free men and women to trade freely among themselves, to define the terms of their own economic existence, to engage in what is sometimes called capitalism, but is better known as free enterprise, with the emphasis on free enterprise. The pressure is on even to this very, very moment. Now, scholars have looked at various nations around the globe and have ranked them according to the degree of freedom within their economy. And at one end of the spectrum are the very freest nations, Hong Kong and Singapore. And then there's some other nations, and a little ways down the list is the United States of America, which used to rank higher in terms of economic freedom, but has slipped a little. And then on down through the countries of Europe and the countries of Africa, and the least free of all, of course, are countries like North Korea and Cuba. And of course, they have also looked at the outcome. And there is a nearly perfect correlation between the degree of economic freedom and the prosperity and productivity of these countries. And it's no secret that places like Hong Kong and Singapore are much better off than countries like North Korea and Cuba. Nor is it a secret that our own country, which was once the very freest, had more liberty in the economic sphere than probably any country in the history of the world, has become a little more regimented, much to my regret. And as we have done so, our economy has begun to cool off and has begun to stagnate, not something that's just happened in the last year or two, but over the last few decades. Still, by the grace of God, we remain remarkably free and with an economy that has a great deal of momentum. The question is, what's for the future? My belief, my prayer, is that we're going to become now more free rather than less. But it isn't about productivity, although there's a clear correlation. I mean, it's an almost perfect correlation. The more freedom, the more prosperity. The more freedom, the more progress. But that isn't the main issue of this conference or of life. The real question is, what happens to the people in the economy? It's not just what the gross national product is. The question is, what does the attempt to regulate, to regiment, to encourage, to hector, to constrain the private sector economy do to the men and women who live in that society? And of course, the verdict is in. The more government there is, the less freedom. In fact, the great economist Walter Williams created a formula which is so simple that you can put it on a bumper sticker. In fact, we ought to do that now that I think about it. The formula is more government equals less freedom. And America is all about freedom. And so today we're going to make the case for freedom, for free enterprise, the moral basis of this great economic system which has brought our country and others who have followed our example unparalleled prosperity, unparalleled freedom for our families and our communities. Thank you for coming. It's a thrill to have you here this morning. I understand from Gary and Paul that we had to cut off the registrations a couple of weeks ago because we were just running out of space in the room, but I'm glad to see that virtually every chair is filled and it's kind of wall to wall. It shows a degree of interest in our subject that just brings me a great deal of fulfillment and joy to see you here. Thank you for coming.